They are just adjustments of their plans. Normally, when you have to do a lot in January, you have to repair some mistakes from the summer, or to deal with a situation with many injuries. So normally, I would say it's a good sign if you just change a few details. This is my general thought about the window. For us, we have just adjusted some details. So in total, we have allowed Jack Harrison to go out on loan because it was his wish. Also, he didn't have that much game time, and also his behavior was very professional. For that, we got the feeling, okay, we can make his wish possible and allowed him to go on loan. We have proactive sent also Harry Gray out on loan, and so far so good. So touch wood, it's a perfect start for the loan. Hopefully it continues also exactly in this way. At the moment, exactly what we were wishing for. Lots of game time, some good performances, and also in a tough league, so perfect for him. And we have added with Facundo Buonanotte also another loan for us. So I would say, yeah, just little adjustments in our squad, and from this point we go and we move on. So for me, it's right now we have achieved more or less with this group of players, plus Jack Harrison, minus Facundo Buonanotte, 26 points already on this level. We have progressed into the next FA Cup round, so we are on a good path, and I'm quite confident that also with this group right now, we are capable also like to finish hopefully then the job in the Premier League. Will still be hard work, and also like if possible to progress hopefully a bit further on in the FA Cup. So I think we are in a position where we are capable to do this, and this is right now I adapt to the reality. I have this group right now, and I concentrate to give my group right now all the backing, all my work, all my trust, and then I'm also confident that we can achieve our goals.
You mentioned the summer. It's clear that the summer transfer work was been excellent. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, has done so well, but you were linked with a striker, Jürgen Strand-Larsen. Just in general, then, what was you thinking behind potentially bringing in another striker, and did you have any other thoughts beyond Strand-Larsen, especially when you went to Palace?
I won't speak about rumors. I also won't speak about special players. I also won't speak about details, because how would my players in the squad right now feel if I tell you today I would have wished for another wing back, another centre back, another striker, another winger? They wouldn't feel much trusted anyhow, and that I'm not confident. So all the players who are right now here, they need all my attention, they need all my backing, all my support, and also that I give them confidence. And would be definitely not beneficial if I would tell, oh, we are missing this position or that position anyhow. So would be foolish from my position right now to speak about this. Yes, of course, it's also my responsibility also to speak with our key people, with our board about potential targets, to create profiles, and to speak about potentially what is necessary to do also in January. This is also what we have done. But I'm also not the type of manager who is just thinking about myself. My job is also like to adapt to the reality, what is possible. And if we identify, for example, a player or a position or a profile that can make us better, then it's more or less like up to other people in our club to decide if it's also affordable. Yeah, because I also fully understand that we work with limited resources. It would be easy. If I could choose, I would work with unlimited resources, and I would have several ideas who I could bring in, but also totally accept that there are also is a situation where we have to work under limited resources, with limited resources. And we also have to make sure that this club is led sustainable, and that we don't bring the club like perhaps also in some years in the last 2 decades in situations where the future of the club is in high risk. But it's not up to me to decide this, because I run the sport, but I'm not the master of our finances. So for that, it's up to other people also to decide this, and I fully understand when there are sometimes also disciplined and decisions who are for the sustainability of this club, and then I adapt to the reality, and the reality is right now exactly this group that we have, and I'm looking forward each every day to work with them and to get the best out of this group.
Just finally on transfers then, just what would your message be to Leeds fans who maybe were a bit disappointed that there wasn't any more players coming in? You've talked about how happy you are with the squad, but there were some fans who were worried that there weren't any more new faces coming in.
Emotions are important in football, and our supporters don't need any calming them down or any message. I think they care so much for the club that they can judge themselves exactly where we are. What I can guarantee is that I have so much love for my players, for our group, and I have so much love for our supporters and for this club, and I'm so motivated to give them what they all need and what they all deserve, and what they need is a club who earns the right to play on longer period on Premier League level, to establish this club back on Premier League level. And I also have to say, with this group of players, we're capable to win after 24 game days, 26 points. We are capable to progress into the next round in the FA Cup. Don't have the feeling that in this transfer window we were getting weaker. And for that, I'm also confident that with this group, we are capable to achieve our goals and our targets. And we know, we speak about whatever. We need 1 point average per game to stay in this league. So that would mean, don't like to speak too much about numbers or whatever, but this would mean we need 12 more points to have this average in the end of the season. 12 more points means whatever, 3 wins, 3 draws. This would mean 6 positive results out of the last 14 game days. Positive result on this level is always a win or a draw when you get something out of the game. The last 12 games that we've played were 10 positive results. I think 1 loss against Arsenal, obviously, and 1 loss against Newcastle. So I would back my players in my group also, like, out of the upcoming 14 game days to have 6 positive results. I'm not saying that I'm already happy with just 6 positive results. I want to make sure that in hopefully all the upcoming 14 game days we win in each of the game day points. But I'm definitely confident that we are capable to win enough points in order to earn the right to stay in this league. I'm also confident that we can progress perhaps also further on in the FA Cup, although of course the priority is definitely also the league. There's no doubt about this. Nothing is achieved yet, and if we have the feeling something is achieved or we go further on with less work or less commitment, then we have no chance on this level. In each every game day you have to fight to win points in each every game, but I also know if we keep going in the way we have worked so far and what we've done, then I'm confident that we achieve in the end our goals. And this is what my concentration, my focus is on. I want the first positive result already on next Friday.
Just to focus on the game finally, you look at the table, you look at the history between the two sides, it's a huge game under the lights as well. Sean Dyche is someone you've come across before. What's your relationship like with him?
Sean has a proven record on Premier League level. He has shown several times what he's capable of. I think also like during this season he gave lots of stability back to Nottingham. Won also many points in the recent weeks. Also in the form table quite good. Obviously he has I think a team of lots of individual quality also on his hands. This team has qualified for Europe last season, and they have spent lots of money also in the last summer. It's definitely a strong opponent, and against the sides it's never easy to create chances. It's never easy to open them, and also if you have a look on their last fixtures, they had very often clean sheets or just conceded 1 goal and made it difficult for the opponent to score goals. So I expect also a tight game where it will be difficult to create chances, will be difficult also to score goals. So we have to be on it, we have to be focused, we have to be concentrated. We will definitely need our supporters in this difficult game, because everyone who is connected with Leeds United, wants to make sure that this club earns enough points to stay in this league. And yeah, we also face, meanwhile, an established Premier League side, and due to their status, of course, they are capable to invest more money due to the PSR rules anyhow. So it's always a bit easier, and for that we need even more our supporters to make a special day and a special atmosphere on Friday evening. And if we're capable to do this, and if my lads then on the pitch deliver in the perfect way, then we will also definitely have a chance. But it's always difficult against Sean's sides, and I expect also a difficult game.
You said that the club was aware of your needs. How satisfied are you that everything was done to meet your needs, and have they, to what extent have they been met?
Yes, like I mentioned, I won't speak too much about the thoughts that I have shared with our board, and I also won't speak too much about what I would have liked, for example, additionally to add, because it would make no sense in order to lead my group and to give them confidence if I would cry right now for whatever, another winger, another striker, another centre back, another wing back. I'm not the manager to do this, and you know, my general understanding of my role is also, I've signed a contract here in order to serve, and it's not like the club has to serve me or to back me or to make my life easy, although of course I would prefer this, to have unlimited resources available and can do whatever I want and can sign any player, and probably I would have then spent some more money also in this January transfer window. But for me, it's important that we all together, it's not like the manager against the board and the board has to do something for the manager. For me, it's more like, if you want to be successful as a club, the key people in the club stick together, and they are on the same page, and they discuss and speak about options, and it has to be also sometimes even a bit controversial. So my role is also like to identify profiles and targets, sometimes even players that could make us better, but it's also important that then the financial department who leads the club also in the mid and the long terms with sustainability have their say, and also speak about, okay, if something is possible or not, and then you agree all together what you do or what you don't do. And this is how I think it has to work. And in general, I adapt then to the reality, and I don't expect anyone to make my life easy or to back myself. I'm here to back the club. I'm here to make, hopefully, the time of the club in the future a really good time, and to serve the club and to make the best out of what I've got. As long as I can influence it, and then I fight for each and every quality player. But once I have a squad, then I don't search for any excuses or cry for something anyhow. Then I try to make the best out of what I've got, and this is exactly how I understand my role, and I'm there in order to do this. And this is exactly also what I will do in the upcoming months. I want to earn, together with my players, the right for this club to stay in this league, and this is what I will do.
Is there any sense, though, of the club not being flexible enough right at the death, say, to maybe switch targets and use the resources that were clearly available to go and get somebody for another position, for example?
No, not in the last days that you switch somehow targets or profiles. I always speak about profiles, about the positions that you perhaps would need, or what you would want to do, or the profiles that you would need, and then it doesn't make sense to go for a completely different profile on the last game day. But it's also not my job and my task, and also not my right to speak in public about what could have been available in terms of money anyhow, because there are other people to speak about, okay, what is possible in terms of spending money and how a deal could look like. My job is more like to identify what this team needs, this group needs, and perhaps potential profiles, and to speak about potential players that I would like to have. But I will never speak in public about any rumors or potential targets, or targets that they were linked with us anyhow. This is not my style. I speak very honest and also very clear internally about this. But when the business is then done and we can't influence it anymore, I concentrate on what I've got, and all my attention is then just on backing my players and backing the players who represent the shirt in the upcoming weeks and months, and not like crying for any sympathy or any help or what could have been better. Anyhow, I don't need this. I don't need any excuses with my players. We know that we have a chance to stay in this league and we want to make it happen.
I think one of the most interesting things you said is that you feel stronger as a squad having had Facundo come in and the other small tweaks that's been made. But coming into this game on Friday night, hopefully he's fit. How much stronger and better do you feel with the injury situation? Have you got more players back? Lucas Metzger, for example.
I thought my exact words were, I think we are not weaker anyhow, but I have to double check it again. It's also, I spoke about Facundo a lot, and I share this excitement, and we brought him in because I think he's a fantastic guy. He's a fantastic young player with lots of potential, with lots of creativity, but it also is clear that it's exactly what I spoke about, what makes January so difficult. Second part of the truth is also that he has not played much football in the last months. Yes, obviously not for Chelsea, also not for Brighton before, even not for Leicester that much anyhow. And for that, if you bring a player on loan in, you then can't expect in such a situation that straight away he comes in. It is way better than the options that we have already, who have done so well also for us, or relatively well to bring us at least into this position. So for me, I'm a big fan of permanent transfers anyhow, and to have a player here for several years. But if you have limited resources, then you have to be creative, especially in January, and also work sometimes here and there with a loan. And I think for Facundo, it's definitely a win-win situation, because it was not the easiest run of months for the player in terms of game time and also be needed. That's for sure. And he was available as a loan. It's like I mentioned also in one of my earlier press conferences. So we can just provide the stage. So Facundo gets all our support, all our backing, all our help in training anyhow, to reach his top fitness level, to reach his top confidence level, to reach his top rhythm in the game. But it's totally up to him to step through the door. And if he does so, yeah, then happy days. Then we have, for us, without spending lots of money, a big help in the upcoming few months. And if it doesn't work, if he can't go through the door, then we have at least not wasted unbelievable amount of money, because it's just a loan and we haven't spent a big transfer fee. And for that, it's not a risk, especially also because one player went out on loan and one player comes in on loan, and we got the feeling, okay, it's definitely nothing what makes us weaker. It's just a potential chance to make us stronger. But I also wouldn't put too much pressure or expectations on his shoulders, because it would be also disrespectful to players who have done so well for us anyhow. So we'll give him the time, and then it's up to him. He doesn't get just a chance just because we signed him on loan. He has to earn it on the training pitch. He has to earn it when he comes in for 5 minutes or for 25 minutes in the last game. He has to show good performances. He has to show consistency in his performances on the day. And what I see in the games when he comes in, what I see each every day on the training pitch, if I got the feeling, okay, he earns it to be involved in the matchday squad or on the pitch, then he gets a chance. And if not, then not. And this is how I work. So I'm a big believer in you play how you train, and this is why it's important for me that they train in a proper way. We have lots of competition also in Facundo's positions. Also good to have Daniel James, for example, right now back, and there's hard competition right now also for the offensive positions. And for that, no guaranteed starting positions, no guaranteed positions in the matchday squad. They have to deliver in each every training day. We have 2 more days, and then we'll see who is with us for the weekend.
Is Lucas Metzger ready to be involved?
In general, we have some mixed news in personal terms. Some definitely good news. Jakob since today back in team training. We have to wait right now how his body reacts, but that's definitely positive for us. Also, James Justin back in team training. Thank God it was just a bruise and not a broken toe. He's also available for the weekend. Definitely good news. Also, Daniel James is making progress. Very good news. Lucas Metzger not in team training yet. We have 2 more days. It's probably unlikely that he will make it for this game, but he's also not too far away. We'll see. The only negative news is that Anton Stach is struggling with some hip problems after last game day, and it looks that he's likely to miss the game on Friday and also the Chelsea game. So definitely not good news with him, because he's obviously an important player for us. So it looks like he will miss the game on Friday and also the Chelsea game. It's probably a situation of probably being out for 10 to 14 days. At least is what the doctor says at the moment. So it's pretty likely that he will miss the game on Friday.
And finally, Daniel Forest have added a few players this week. Do you look at them as being significantly stronger than they were prior to bringing these players in now?
We will see. So I was full of respect already for the squad, especially offensive-wise. Obviously, even before, so the likes of whatever Gibbs might, of Jesus, of Hudson-Odoi, of Hutchinson, Dominguez in the offenses are for me on Premier League level really quality players. Also in the center, players like Anderson. So for me, it's a really good side. But I also don't want to praise them too much, because I would rather prefer to praise my players. We are capable also against this side to deliver a top performance and also to be strong in this game. We have to be aware, because I think Nottingham is a good side, and they have added also a few players and added also some quality players. With Luca Netz, for example, have also worked in Gladbach, also very promising young talent. So yeah, it will be a difficult task for us, that's for sure.
Hi Daniel. You've got a 100% record under the floodlights this season with night games. Some people would see night games with floodlights, romantic sort of evening, that special crackling atmosphere. How do you feel about them, especially with that 100% record this season as well?
I was not really aware of this record, but it's okay. It's good news. Probably also a bit due to the fact that we didn't have too many game days. So. 4. Oh, that's nearly perfect. To be honest, I'm a football romantic as well. I love the atmosphere under the floodlight, and the stadium is full and everyone's buzzing. I like it way more than kickoffs just after breakfast. Also like for traveling anyhow. So if you have a 12 o'clock kickoff sometimes, especially on the way in, it's difficult for supporters. I like the atmosphere at Elland Road under floodlights. Sadly, the good record is not a guarantee also for a successful game on Friday, but it's at least a good promise, and I'm looking forward to have this game, and I hope for a very special atmosphere as well. And hopefully we can win as many points as possible.
I was looking back to the reverse fixture from back in November as well. I know it wasn't a difficult spell, shall we say, for your team at the time. And you'd mentioned post-match, and I think you were a little bit annoyed anyway with some things that had happened in the game. But you mentioned about small details that had been letting you down. It appears that you've eradicated a lot of those. Is that fair to say, that in terms of getting rid of those smaller details, it's much better now than it was back in November?
There are always a bit ups and downs during a season, and of course a few things that we can influence. I think we're way better in the last month, so the pressure on the build-up of the opponent, also like to be aware of channel runs of the opponent. This is something where Nottingham was also quite good at. On the other hand, you always have to do it every time again and prove it again that you're capable also to do it better. Yeah, there are still some things that you also can't influence. I remember before we conceded a crucial goal, there was a mistake of the referee and a completely wrong decision anyhow. This is something you can't influence, and you also can't guarantee this for the future. But I think in general we have grown as a team and also grown as a group, and every individual player is meanwhile also more a proven Premier League player than he was perhaps just after a few game days in the beginning of the season. For that, I think we're definitely in a better position right now than we were perhaps a few months ago. But it's also up to us to prove this again on Friday evening.
Hi Daniel. When in a window the club comes to you with suggestions, how do you form your opinion on whether or not to accept that suggestion as a player you would like or not like for your team?
Yes, I think first of all it's important for our recruitment also to come up with suggestions and to be there also with players that we potentially could sign or would like to sign. But it's up for me to run the football and up for me also to feel what the what the group needs anyhow. So, of course, scouts have a different view, a bit like they look at the potential of the player, if a player is available on the potential side of a deal, but it's more like it should be the manager who is in charge, who feels also what the group needs in terms of characters, in terms of spirit, in terms of profiles of the players. And yeah, sometimes there are even top players available, but it doesn't suit the profile just due to the fact that it would be perhaps even too much of an option or a different type. Anyhow, you have a player on a position who is very important for you, and you don't want, for example, to annoy him with a player who comes in on the same position who doesn't accept, for example, a backup role or whatever. So it's always fine margins, and of course it's more or less like also the knowledge and the experience of a manager to know what the group feels, because it's not just you bring the best potential signings together and you are successful. Otherwise, some other clubs would win each every season the Champions League, for example, and the club who spent the most money. So it's also important to spend it wisely and to build a group and to build the spirit within the group also carefully. And I just can say for myself, I'm pretty picky also in who I want in the squad and which player I want. For example, it makes no sense to have 10 centre-backs of the same quality in the group. It's good when 8 centre-backs are injured, yes. In this scenario, yes, but normally that's not very likely. And if you have more or less just 8 players around who are, in a horrendous mood because they're not playing, they're not in the starting lineup, they're not even in the squad, it's even contradictory to what you want to achieve and not beneficial. So for that it's important, and I'm pretty strong also in my opinion on what I want and what I don't want, yes.
Yeah, just on that, when there are so many other opinions, data, scouts and the club making business decisions as well, how difficult is it sometimes to back your decision, and what has informed your decision, what you've seen or heard about a player?
It depends in general on the character of the manager and the position he is in. Once you are perhaps a young manager and you are happy to have the job and you're fighting for your job and you need to suit everyone to make sure that you stay in the job, it could be sometimes a bit difficult. If you have a proven record, if you're convinced of what you're doing, if you're also pretty strong and if you have the more or less the feeling, okay, if you don't want me to run the business, then bring someone else in. I don't care anyhow. So it's more or less like it depends always on the position of the manager. I'm a big believer in teamwork. I don't think it should be like it was perhaps 20 or 30 years ago, that it's just a one-man show of the manager who can do whatever he wants. I think it's important also like to listen, to speak, to also listen to other opinions and to discuss, and then more or less like when you have all the pieces, then to take the best positions and the best decisions for the club in all interests, not like to suit someone, a scout or the academy or just the manager to make your life easy. I think all the decisions that you take should be always in the best interest of the club, because the club is always bigger than any staff member, any manager, sporting director, board member, academy member. Anyhow, this is quite important, and I would always back myself also like to be a club manager and to think more about the club than about myself, and I would always be there with good decisions together with our key people about the club. But one thing is also for sure, so as long as I'm in this position, I would also run the sport in the way I think it should be run, because otherwise someone else could do this. I'm signed here a contract to be in charge, not to be like a one-man show or to be like a king in former years who knows, okay, I know everything better than anyone else. I've got good people around me and can also sometimes discuss controversial, and sometimes myself or a good manager can also be convinced by some good arguments. I think if you're not open for this, then you don't do the job proper. I think it's important to speak, to listen, to overthink, to listen to other people, and this is how we run it. But in the end, I will always run the sport.
Daniel, just going off that really, did any of your transfer aims across the whole of the month, and I'm mainly thinking about goalkeeper here, given your comments on Saturday, did any of your transfer aims change as January progressed, or was it whatever you outlined at the start you sort of stuck with all the way through?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I think I don't understand.
So, as I'm guessing at the start of the January transfer window you had certain aims.
Yeah.
Did any of them different targets come up throughout January that caused you to sort of change your mindset?
Okay, right now I got it. So I don't work in this way that I just have names at the beginning of January. For me, it's important that I have profiles where I think about, okay, what we perhaps could do. And then you have also more or less like a list of names. And if someone is not available, then of course, more or less, next position on the list comes up. And of course, you have to be flexible also to adapt a little bit. Yeah? For example, when a player who is not happy and wants to leave, what you were not thinking before, wants to leave and leaves, of course, then you have to replace him and come also with a different position or different name that you are perhaps in the 1st of January not even thinking about, or you adapt a bit on what happens on the pitch in terms of injuries or performances. And of course, this happens sometimes, and you have to be flexible. This business, sometimes is crazy, but I wouldn't say that I have changed my thoughts about what was necessary to do in terms of profiles and the type of players we wanted to bring in. So it's not like, unbelievable, surprisingly, I had completely different thoughts in the end of January than I had in the beginning of January. Otherwise, I wouldn't have prepared this window proper.
Some other European windows remain open, not loads to be fair. But is there a world where, you know, I'm thinking of, for instance, someone like Ilan Meslier, if a club from one of them leagues where the window's still open comes in for him, and the player said, "Look, I want to go," is that consideration that you would let him go, or is it a case of, "Our January window's over, that's it, that's done"?
That's my problem that I have with this transfer window. So as soon as something is closed and you think you don't have to speak about it anymore, there's anywhere sometimes a window open, or we speak already about the summer window anyhow. Yes, I'm aware that there are a few options possible. I think it's unlikely. So far, no one has knocked at my door and told me that he wants to leave. I'm fully convinced that we will work further on with this group. I can't rule out anything because sometimes in this football world, strange thing happens. But what I can confirm till today, I'm not sure if someone is standing in front of my office right now, but till today, no one else apart from Jack Harrison a few weeks ago has knocked on my door and told me that he wants to leave.
Is it hard convincing a transfer target that if they're going to come in, they're probably going to be a backup to start with, and they've only got 14 games with which to get past whoever your preferred starter is?
To be honest, I don't want to convince a player to be a backup option, because I don't want one player in my group who is happy to sit on the bench. So I want all my players that they are greedy to start and they try their best and they want to be better than their competitor on their position. And I don't want a player who comes in and says, "Oh, it's right chilled, hopefully I'm not in the game day squad, I don't have to play too much." I want everyone to be desperate to start. But I think it's important also like to speak about a clear plan, and what happens is then decided on the training pitch and in the games. And it would not make sense, for example, speaking about my captain, Islam Padu, I think he's outstanding for us, to bring, for example, 18-year-old guy in on this position with lots of potential, and then to speak about him and to give him the expectation, "No, by the way, you come in, you get straight away the captain armband and you play ahead of Islam Padu." So I think it's always important to give a realistic view of what the situation is, and to say, of course, it will be difficult to come in and to play ahead of Islam Padu. But if you're in, if we see, not just in one training session, but over the course of a few weeks, you're always better than Ethan. When you get a chance for a few minutes, you prove that you're better. Then bad luck for Ethan, then probably you won't play, because I will always play the better players. So I never have in my head already a fixed role for a player that I want to bring in. For example, we brought several midfield players in. It was always clear in summer there's lots of competition. It's not guaranteed that whatever Anton Stach starts each every game, that Sean Longstaff starts each every game. is more or less there's competition with some other players and they have to prove it. But I think it's also important to speak about how you judge a player so far and not like to give just what he wants to hear and some unrealistic opinions. Then the player comes and after 1 week he's totally fed up because he was thinking, by the way, I just come in order to start the game. I thought even without training I would start. I like to be honest. I like to be also 100% and totally open to my players. I will never say you just play once a different player is injured or not available. I will say, come on, you come in, you are the challenger, but if you're better, then I will play you. But I would never give any unrealistic expectations. So for that, yes, it's always easier to say, no, you're my main man. It's easier to convince someone then, yes. But this is not the way I work. I always try to work honest and open and transparent. This is my job, and otherwise it would be not beneficial. It would be perhaps easier to bring a player in, but it would be then negative for the outcome, and for that I don't work like that.
When I look at the squad, centre-back seems to be sort of the one area in raw numbers that makes me a little bit anxious about sort of, you've now got 3 slots to fill. Sebastian is the only natural centre-back you might have in reserve across those 3 spots if 1 or 2 get injured. And I know you've got Ethan, James Justin's done very well there. I know Sam Barham, you've said him before, in an emergency could do it as well. Maybe even Ilya Gruev. But you must recognise, of course, there's a knock-on impact, isn't there? We know Ethan is phenomenal in midfield. Ilya clearly enjoys playing midfield. James Justin arguably a better full-back or wing-back. So how do you feel about your depth options and how you would work that and the knock-on impact of moving players around to fill centre-back?
I'm not anxious. I'm confident that we are capable to be successful with this group. There are always a few scenarios, and you're totally right in this moments where it could also be beneficial to have perhaps one more options. But like you said, so at the moment we have, thank God, then also Jakab Jol back in training means we have 4 senior proper centre backs who are available. James Justin has played this role outstanding. Sam Barham can play this role. East Amadou in the emergency case, of course, he can play back. We have young Ivy Cresswell. This is also why we didn't let him go out on loan, because we also got the feeling, okay, he's also a very talented young player, and it's not like we have too many centre backs. We also need a few younger options, and we are also quite confident that he can also perhaps then also play a role. At least his last weeks were very promising, and I think. Yes, if you would have asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said, probably we need perhaps a young centre-back who could fill this role, but we were all very impressed also what Alfie has done in the last weeks. This doesn't guarantee him a place in the starting lineup and also not in the matchday squad anyhow, but if he keeps doing what he has done in the recent weeks and develops in this way, then we also have hopefully a proper player, and then we are definitely in a good position.